Okay, now, I want to ask you to identify this, but let's go ahead and do it anyway. So we have to interpret this. We see some stuff in here that's actually tissue. These look like nuclei, but they stain quite differently from this stuff. And they don't look quite like this. And, okay, so let's try to identify this thing. We're dissecting this. We're tearing it apart to analyze it. So what is this in the middle here? A free space. Okay? What is this line of demarcation between these cells that stain one way, look one way, versus these cells? That's the basement membrane. Okay? And this is a circular structure. It's a duct from a sweat gland. All right, so we now have to identify this tissue between the free space and the basement membrane. And so we now know that it's, what kind of tissue is this next to the free space? All right, whenever you see tissue next to a free space, it is most likely what? Epithelium. Connective tissue will be beneath the basement membrane, but epithelial tissues will be near a free space. All right, so here's the free space. This is the basement membrane. So how many layers of cells do we have? 2 layers of cells. That's enough to make it stratified. Okay, now we have to determine the shape of the cells near the free space. So what would be the shape of these cells? Cuboidal, as identified by the round nucleus that's almost in the center. So that's how you would identify this as being stratified, because it's 2 layers. Cuboidal, because the cell layer next to the free space is cuboidal cells. So notice the methodology that we're using. We're not just guessing at the tissue. We're looking at identifying characteristics and then applying what we know. Okay. Now, this will be a challenging tissue, but what I want you to notice are the very thick-looking cytoplasm on these cells near the free space. I should have asked you, what is this? The free space. All right, what kind of tissue is this next to the free space? Epithelial tissue. So this is some type of epithelium. And we won't confuse it with muscles or connective tissues that we have yet to learn. But this is our method. All right. So we got whatever type of tissue this is that stains this way and looks this way, and then all of a sudden we got something different from this point on down. So what is this? That's the basement membrane. Okay, so now, so we got to identify these tissues. Do they look simple or stratified?
Stratified.
All right, it does look stratified. All right, but it could be confusing sometimes, especially if we get ready to look at pseudo-stratified tissue. But this is really stratified.
Even with the shape of the cells, they look like they're touching
Looks like these are all touching the bottom here.
Yeah, because of the shape that they are, they're sort of like an oval shape.
Okay, because these are oval shaped like so. Okay, it looks like they could be touching the bottom. Okay. It's going to turn out that these won't be classified according to the number of layers. It's just going to be classified because, all right, what kind of shape would you say these cells have?
Transitional.
Transitional. Good point. They look like they're almost about to turn into columnar epithelium. But if this was a columnar cell, the nucleus would be distorted and toward the bottom instead of a nice oval nucleus like a cuboidal cell would have. So it has characteristics of both a columnar cell and a cuboidal cell, as though it's changing from one to the other, which is why this is called transitional epithelium. So the best way to identify transitional epithelium is I will try to show you a section where the cells near the free space look like they have a very thick cytoplasm, like this. See how thick this looks, and how thick that looks, the way that it stains? Well, you find this transitional epithelium, for example, in the urinary bladder. Question?
Why did you say we're not gonna use cell layers to identify that cell?
Because I happen to know that this is transitional, but you would use that, you would analyze that, you would think about that. Okay, and it does look like these touch the basement membrane. Maybe like this, it's so hard, we would have to depend on what the experts tell us, just like we would with true pseudo-stratified tissue. Okay, but you're right, you would look for the number of layers. Question?
For the pseudo-stratified, the specific copy is similar to stratified, but it's not real stratified. Present at the